Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. This is going to be almost like a response video to my last video because in my last video, a lot of you guys were asking me what did I think about Samuel L. Jackson's comments about Daniel Kaluuya. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Kaluuya or Kaluuya. Let me know how you pronounce that. Who's a British actor who was cast in Get Out. I knew that Samuel L. Jackson had said something about Black British actors versus Black American actors, but I didn't know exactly specifically what was said, which is why I didn't mention it in that video, because that video was just like a lot of like my own like thoughts and ideas that I had been like thinking about for a while, because I wanted to make that video for like literally months. But a lot of you guys, and especially in the comments and like on Twitter and stuff, were asking me like, oh, like what did after like seeing that video. A lot of you guys were asking me like, oh, what did I think about like this whole like Samuel L. Jackson thing or whatever. So I wanted to like read exactly specifically what he said and then make a video about it, because a lot of you guys were wondering what I thought. So for anyone that doesn't know, basically what Samuel L. Jackson said was, I want to read exactly what he said. He said, there are a lot of Black British actors in these movies. I tend to wonder, okay, you know what? Time. Number one, I'm reading from The Guardian, and I want to say from the beginning, like, the opening line is, Samuel L. Jackson has criticized the casting of Black British actors in roles about American race relations. I personally wouldn't say, from what I've seen, that Samuel L. Jackson was criticizing it. He was, like, making a statement and giving a different point of view. To me, it didn't feel like criticism. I'm going to get to that a little bit later in this video, but I kind of want to start off by saying that I feel like people are reacting to what Samuel L. Jackson said. Like, he said something and now people are reacting. Like, it is a reaction happening. And I think people are maybe taking what he said the wrong way and turning it into a criticism where to me, there was no criticism there. It was just, oh, this is, hey, maybe let's talk about this, think about this. Anyways, there are a lot of Black British actors in these movies, Jackson said. I tend to wonder what that movie, Get Out, would have been with an American brother who really feels that. What would a brother from America have made of that role? Some things are universal, but not everything, which I think is a really, really interesting perspective and a really interesting thing to say. And I completely agree that not everything is universal. And I don't think that that meant he was criticizing Daniel in the role. And the guy, Daniel Kaluuya, please let me know, he responded by saying like, I shouldn't have to prove my blackness. I resent having to prove my blackness, and I can't believe that Samuel L. Jackson is talking about my blackness, and we're just all Black, and why can't we just all be Black in this blackety black ass world together? And I was just like, whoa, it sounds like there's a fundamental misunderstanding of what Sam Jack said, and that people are automatically fucking reacting to what the fuck he said, like they generally do when fucking Black Americans open our mouths and say some shit. There's this reaction. People just react, and they just go. And it's like, Sam Jack said you're not a Black American, which you are not. And that maybe a Black American could have brought something different to that role, which is a perfectly fucking reasonable thing to say. No one said that Daniel Kaluuya, however you pronounce it, no one said that he wasn't Black. So even the fact that he popped off at the mouth talking about I shouldn't have to prove my Blackness clearly shows you're already entering into the conversation with a what is the word I want? A preconceived notion of what Sam Jack said, because nobody said you weren't Black. He said you were not a Black American, which you are not. You popped off at the mouth immediately about what he said. Nobody said you weren't Black. You are not a Black American. That's what he said, and that just is what it is. We are all having different experiences. That's what Sam Jack said. That just is what it is. I don't know what it is to be a Black person in Britain. Me personally, me, Seren, I have no idea what it is to be a Black person in Britain. I don't know what that experience is. As an actor, sure, I could play the role of a Black person in Britain, whatever, but I would not be drawing on that well of experience. So now we're getting into a conversation about experiential versus non-experiential acting. We're talking about drawing on a well of experience versus I'm going to research, I'm going to make some shit up, I'm gonna, you know, like, this is not my lived experience, so I'm gonna dive in head first and I'm going to really quite literally act, right? Versus me drawing on my experiences. And that's just like method acting versus like non-method acting. That's like two different types of acting styles. But I do think that there's something to be said for drawing on a well of personal experience. The movie Kids, which was Rosario Dawson, who I love. Everybody knows I love her. That was like her debut film. The director wanted real kids from New York City. He didn't want to cast child actors. He wanted real kids from New York. So they went out onto the streets of New York and they picked up kids. Like, they literally picked up kids. That was how Rosario Dawson even got, like, discovered. She was sitting out on her fucking stoop. And it was like, hey, you want to be in a movie about kids in New York City? I'm a kid in New York City, sure, you know? Like, there's something to be said for wanting that experience because you want to bring a certain authenticity to your role. That is a perfectly fucking reasonable thing to say. And we've actually talked about this on this channel before. I had a video on voice acting, which of course will be popping up. And as always, if you want to see related videos and related content, click on the eye in the right-hand corner. I'm pointing to this corner, but for you guys, it might be this corner, but there's going to be an eye in the right-hand corner, and that's where all the related videos are. But I have a video called Does Race Matter in Voice Acting? Because we were talking about, it was a reader request, somebody sent in the question, does race matter in voice acting where you can't even see the person? And I said that I think it can matter depending on the role. And I think that I actually used like a white person example in that video. I said, like, you know, like a native Russian speaker is going to have, for example, an understanding of Russian, right? That's someone that learns it in school or someone that learns it later on in life, even being like immersed in it, you know. A native Russian speaker, a first language Russian speaker is going to just have an understanding of Russian that other person is just not going to have. And I know I used my example, a movie that I saw called In a World, which is specifically about voice acting. And there's a scene where the main character, who's a woman, she's a voice actor, is she likes to go out to like Coney Island and like sit and like listen to all the different Eastern European languages and dialects, Russian and Czech and Polish, and she records them on a voice recorder so that later on she can like practice to try to like get the accent right and try to like get the pronunciation right. And, you know, and it's like, that's a lot of work when you could just cast a native speaker for that authenticity. And again, that's just about distinct choices that movie makers make when they make movies, you know? But again, I did say in that video that I think it does make a difference because you're just coming from a different place. Now, again, that doesn't mean that everybody has to like stay in their lane, so to speak, that like only people that have these authentic stories, you know, fucking Moonlight, only people that are from Liberty City only can come and be in our movie, you know, like that's not to say that everyone has to like stay in their lane, but there should be a recognition and an understanding of the fact that we are coming from different places. So if a director did say, I would prefer, it's open to everyone, but I would prefer actors that are from Liberty City, that are familiar with Liberty City to take on this role of Chiron, that's just my preference as the filmmaker, I feel like that's perfectly fucking fine and reasonable, you know? Like an actual African-American, if an actual African-American or Black American, whichever you prefer, had been cast as the lead role in Get Out, they would be coming from a different place than a Black Brit in a movie about American racism. It's an American movie set in America about American racism, which has a very distinct, particular way of operating, a certain history, like, and again, you could read about it, you could study up on it, you could research it, you could perfect it, but you're not going to have that same authenticity as somebody that grew up here in America, and that's just how I feel about it. And that doesn't mean better, it doesn't mean worse, it doesn't mean anything like that, it just means different. And I really don't see what is the big deal about Sam Jack saying that, because it's fucking obvious. It's perfectly fucking obvious, and it's perfectly fucking reasonable to recognize that based on where we are in the diaspora, that we are all having very different experiences, and this immediate reacting to what he said, and this immediate, you're questioning my blackness, oh my god, and you're questioning my fucking black, like, shut the fuck up, like, ain't nobody questioning your goddamn blackness. I hate that shit. Like, we're talking about the differences between Black Brits and Black Americans, you know, in this example, and And it's there. It's legit. Like, it's a legitimate thing to say. And John Boyega, who's another Black Brit who y'all know I love to death. I love John Boyega. He's getting ready to star in Pacific Rim 2, which I'm super excited about. He decided he wanted to chime in with his 2 cents when nobody motherfucking asked him. And he put on Twitter something like Black Brits versus Black Americans is a stupid argument that we don't need to be having. Shut the fuck up. I love you to death, John Boyega, but you could go ahead and shut the fuck up too, because just the mere fact that it's causing this much discord means that there's obviously a conversation to be had. I said to Ryan, and Ryan, you know I love you. You know I love you to death. Everybody go look at Ryan's Get Moving program on Instagram. I'll put a link to it in the description box. Ryan, you know I love you to death. But I said the same thing to Ryan, because Ryan said something similar, kind of along the lines of like, you know, we focus too much, especially as Black people that are, you know, fighting to be free, really, you know, for freedom, that we focus too much on separations and, you know, where the boat dropped us off, as opposed to where, he didn't literally say this, I'm paraphrasing, too much on where the boat dropped us off in comparison to where the boat picked us up, which I think is also a perfectly reasonable thing to say. But I said to him, I'm going to read you guys exactly what I said to him in the comments. I said, there is nothing wrong with recognizing that although we might be all from Africa, we have different struggles and different cultures. All of this is very, I don't see color / it's only one race, the human race to me. And I feel like that type of mindset doesn't help anyone. We have to be willing to recognize that we are all having different experiences and appreciate that in our revolution. That's the very definition of being intersectional. To quote Kerry Washington, and I feel like I use this quote so much, but I feel like it's so appropriate. She said, I seriously do not want to live in a world where differences are not recognized. Like, I don't want to live in a world where we're all forced to be the same. It's awesome that Black Americans have, not, the racism is not awesome, but like, it's awesome that Black Americans have an experience, and Black Brits have an experience, and Black Italians have an experience. I've watched Cecile and Mika is Strolling. I've been watching it for years. Like, it's amazing to see the ways that we are the same, but also the ways that we differ and are having different experiences. I think that's awesome. I don't want to pretend that shit doesn't exist. Like, I don't want to live in a world where our differences are not recognized. I don't want to live in a world where I am dismissed as we are all African when I speak up as a Black American about very real institutionalized issues like Black Americans being paid less or hired less than Black immigrants. Black like them, Malcolm Gladwell. This is a fact. It's a recognized fact. When I point that shit out, when somebody like Sam Jack points that shit out, you don't get to fucking tell us that we're being motherfucking divisive or that we trying to fucking make non-Americans prove their Blackness. You can go fucking fuck yourself. I'm not gonna shut the fuck up about it, and Sam Jack shouldn't shut the fuck up about it either, because he didn't say anything wrong, you know? Where it's called being divisive when I bring up colorism because we are all Black. I did a series of videos on colorism years ago, and I said I will never talk about colorism again because the way y'all act, when again, just like I said in my fucking last video when I said that people get individual experiences confused with systemic oppression. You know, you say, oh, darker skinned people, especially darker skinned fucking women, get longer prison sentences than lighter skinned women. This is a form of an institution, you know, the prison systems, mass incarceration, which is an institution. This is a symbol of institutionalized racism, of institutionalized colorism, of institutionalized oppression. This is the way that an institution might work differently for different types of Black people having different types of experiences. Yes, we are all oppressed as Black people, but we can still be oppressed in different ways systemically under an institution. And there's people that want to argue about, well, I was called red bone in school and it really hurt my feelings, and it's really exactly the same as dark-skinned women getting 10 times longer sentences than light-skinned women. So Saran, I just really don't appreciate that you point out how darker-skinned people have it harder than light-skinned people, okay? Because when I was in elementary school, someone put gum in my hair, and honestly, it's exactly the same as darker-skinned people getting stopped and frisked more than light-skinned people, okay? Like, no, and y'all know that I'm even one of those people that I feel like multiracial fucking people are black, because there's people that say that they're not black. I think multiracial people are black. I think biracial people are black. Yes, we are all black, but I can also recognize that yes, we're all black. Yes, we're all African. And yes, we're also all still having these different experiences. It's not either or. Y'all know I hate these fucking either or ass, binary ass scenarios. Like, just because one thing is true, it means that the other thing is not true. Like, I'm just not feeling it. I'm going to keep on reading the comment because I get into that in the comment. It's not nuanced, and it isn't going to help any of us get free in the long run. I'm sorry. That's just what I think. It's only going to foster resentment and animosity, like sweeping these differences under the rug and pretending they're not there. Like, I'm just really tired of this binary way of thinking, wherein acknowledging that we have differences like culture and ethnicity within the diaspora somehow equates to undermining the narrative of we are all African. We can recognize the differences and still understand the importance of coming from the same place and all being African and or black. It doesn't have to be either or, and it feels to me like so many people want to take this shortcut to revolution by ignoring differences like that shit isn't gonna come back and bite us in the ass in the long run, and it will come back and bite us in the ass in the long run. I put on Twitter just the other day, there are no shortcuts to revolution. A lot of people say, well, we need to like sweep all these like issues up under the rug for right now and just like focus on getting free right now. No. Like, no, I can't sweep up no homophobia up under the rug. I can't sweep up no transphobia up under the rug. I can't sweep up no fucking biphobia, no misogyny. I can't sweep up no fucking colorism up under the rug. I can't sweep this shit up under the rug under the guise of, well, we'll worry about it later because like all black people need to get free. I can't do, like, we need to focus on this shit now. And we can focus on it and still have solidarity as black people, as Africans. Like, we are multifaceted human beings. We have a very large capacity for thought in our brains. We can do more than one thing at once. We can also walk and talk and chew gum at the same time. I know, it's amazing. I'm blowing your mind right now. I'm just really tired. I'm just really tired of this, like, we are all the same. We are all African, we are all black, shut the fuck up, like mindset, whenever we want to talk about real issues dividing us in the diaspora. It's real. It's real. We have to talk about it. We have to work through the trauma or it's never going to heal. We can't just keep slapping a Band-Aid on it and pretending that it's going to go away, right? We need to talk about colorism. We need to talk about the differences between African or Caribbean immigrants or European black immigrants, black Brits, and black Americans. We need to talk about the very real and different experiences that we are having, right? Even though we are all black, we are having different experiences in terms of culture. We are having different experiences in terms of skin color. We are having different experiences in terms of nationality. We are having different experiences in terms of ethnicity. We need to be able to talk about it without just getting shh. We're all black. We're all African. Shh. I don't want to talk about that. Like, y'all know I hate binary thinking. Y'all know that I hate this binary thinking. I hate it. It's just so juvenile to me. It's so childish and it's not nuanced. And we can, again, recognize that we are all black and that we are all African and yet still discuss the different experiences that we're having based on things, again, like skin color, like ethnicity, like nationality, like culture. One thing doesn't cancel out the other. Wanting to talk about the black Brit experience versus the black American experience doesn't automatically mean that someone is questioning your blackness. And I feel like the fact that this kid Daniel took it that way is telling. I feel like it's telling that he immediately jumped and went there, you know? And it really just feels like people are kind of trying to like shut fucking Sam Jack up, like shut the fuck up, like let us take this shortcut to revolution. Let us sweep all our differences up under the rug. Let's pretend that we're all the same. Let's pretend that everything's fine, you know? And I think that what he said was perfectly fine and reasonable, and that he has a point in saying that perhaps a black American actor might have brought something different to that role. Again, we're talking about experience versus research, authenticity versus acting, right? And that works in other ways too, like Will Smith being cast as a Nigerian in Concussion. I know a lot of people that thought that that was inappropriate. Like, they thought his accent was horrible. They questioned why that role didn't go to a Nigerian actor. And I remember there was a lot of conversation on social media about that, and there was no backlash the way that Sam Jack is receiving backlash. Nobody was like, well, we're all black, so it's fine. Like, people were having real conversations about, like, should this role have gone to a Nigerian actor? Like, is it inappropriate that it went to, like, a Black American actor? And, like, me personally, I remember thinking, like, I kind of think it's weird that Will Smith is playing this role. And I also agree that his accent was horrible. And I think it maybe could have been cool to have seen a Nigerian actor, like, in that role. Like, I think that would have been cool. Just like I could say that I think it maybe would have been cool to see a Black actor in the main role in Get Out. Just like I said in my motherfucking The Get Down video, that I think it might have been cool to see a little bit more focus placed on Black Americans and Black American culture specifically, which is different from Afro-Latinx. It is. And it's fine to say that. I don't understand why people are so touchy. I do understand. I've been saying in this video why people are so touchy about it. But, like, people are so touchy about discussing differences, like, as if that undermines our revolution. Like, we're different. We're different. We're different. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, you know? And I also think that it has to do with a couple of other things. Again, like I already said, I kind of feel like a lot of I feel like this Daniel guy, like, went into his response with a lot of preconceived notions on what he felt like Sam Jack was saying, not on what Sam Jack actually said. And I think a lot of that has to do with the resentment that non-American Blacks have regarding the hypervisibility of Black Americans. There's a lot of resentment there. It's like non-American Black people, It's like we American Blacks are like the big brother and they're like the little brother. They look up to us, they want to be like us, but at the same time, they fucking hate us. Like, they hate us, like, because we have this hyper visibility. And it's like, but we didn't ask for it. We didn't ask for it. Number one, we didn't ask for it. Number two, bitch, I think we motherfucking earned it, okay? From all the shit that we've had to go through in this fucking country, like, I'm not gonna be fucking ashamed of this hypervisibility that we have. Like, and again, like I talked about in my last video, it's like people want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to, like, have this access to Black American culture, but then in the next breath, they want to hate us or say that we don't even have culture, or, you know, or there's this dissonance there. Again, it's kind of like, again, the way you feel about your big brother, like a big brother, little brother thing happening. Like, I want to be like you, but I hate you. Like, I hate that you're bigger and older and like, I just hate you. That's what I always think about. And whenever I see these conversations happening, even on social media, that's just like always what I play in my head. I just be like, oh, look at little bro, look at little sis getting mad. Like there's a resentment about the hypervisibility of Black Americans. Like, going back to Concussion, the idea that, like, Will Smith is a hypervisible Black American, so he doesn't need the role. Give the role to a low-profile Nigerian actor, right? That doesn't work in the reverse, right? Because in the reverse, it's like, well, so what that a Black Brit got the role in Get Out? There's no shortage of roles for Black Americans. Why do they have to be so mad about it? You know, it's a double standard, you know? The belief that Black Americans have no culture and therefore our Black Americanness belongs to everyone, right? So it's like, oh, Nigerians have a culture, so a Nigerian should have played this Nigerian role in Concussion. Black Americans have no culture, so anyone can play a Black American and it's fine. Who cares? Like, I feel like there's a lot of that underlying message in a lot of this dialogue around what Sam Jack said. You know, this idea that American Blackness belongs to anyone and everyone Black, and that anyone and everyone is allowed to have culture except us. And that if we speak up about, hey, maybe it would have been different to have a Black American in this role, if we speak up about claiming our Black American culture, all of a sudden we're wrong and we're questioning the Blackness of other people, but other people get to do it to us all the time, and it's fucking fine. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot, like, that's a thing. Again, we have this hypervisibility, and people like want our culture and want to be us and want to be like us, but at the same time, they consider us to be at the bottom of the food chain. They want to like knock us down a motherfucking peg or two. And it's just like, I don't know what to tell you, you know? Like, I think Sam Jack had a very valid point. Again, I don't think he or anyone was questioning the blackness of not American black people. Rather, it was a conversation around the varied experiences that we're having within the diaspora, and that makes people uncomfortable, especially when you bring it up as a Black American because of your hypervisibility. They just want you to shut the fuck up. Like, they just want you to shut the fuck up. And just hold hands and sing Kumbaya and pretend there's only one black race, the human black race, you know, and just ignore that we're having varied experiences within the diaspora, which, like, as an intersectional activist, womanist, whatever you want to call me, I just cannot do. I just cannot do that. I can't do it. And I read a really interesting article that I'm going to read you guys a little bit from The Guardian, that, again, Black American actors slighted as Brits nab roles. We can't tell our own stories. The casting of Black British actor Daniel Kaluuya, I think it is Kaluuya, in Get Out, a horror film about racism in America, has sparked debate about a trend some find troubling. And the picture that they have here is David Oyelowo. Please forgive me if I butchered that. Who's another Black Brit who was cast as Martin Luther King in Selma. Naomi Harris, who's another Black Brit who was cast as the mom in Moonlight. John Boyega, another Black Brit who's cast in Pacific Rim. And what's his name from 12 Years a Slave? Chiwetel Okorafor, I hope I'm saying that right, who was in 12 Years a Slave. Now that's 4 Black Brits right there that were cast as Black Americans. So there is something to be said for those roles possibly going. Now maybe the 12 Years a Slave is pushing it because Black American or non-Black American, you're going to have to do research. Like, none of us have physically been slaves. You're going to have to do research. But, like, that role, and I loved Naomi Harris in Moonlight. She was brilliant. She deserved a Best Actress nod, but the Oscars are racist. Have a whole video on that. But, like, it's something to be said for, like, oh, could that role have gone to a Black American woman that maybe might have had a more authentic experience and not have had to, like, act, capital T, you know, capital ACT. It's a reasonable conversation to have. There's nothing inherently wrong or fucked up with that conversation, you know? And then even a lot of, like, the pushback also kind of has a classist element to it, which is also talked about in this piece, because a lot of people are also saying, well, the Black Brits, specifically the Black Brits, so we're not even going to get into anywhere else in the diaspora, specifically the Black Brits have more classical training, that they go to these, you know, these really famous British films, not film schools, acting schools, and they have more theater training and they have more stage training. So it's like, oh, well, they're just the best actors for the roles, and they just have this presence, and they just have all this theater training. And it's like, well, but Black Americans don't have those same types of opportunities in this country, because we just don't. I mean, as we all know, like, again, this boils down to us having a different experience, right? And there is an element of classism there, that they are more classically trained, so they're automatically better, right? That like, you can't teach somebody talent. Either you have the acting talent or you don't have the acting talent. Now, of course, you can be classically trained and you can, like, learn so much about diction and speech and presentation and all that good stuff. But it's like, so does that mean that all the Black Americans that have not been classically trained are being shut out from these roles that are specifically about Black Americans and Black American experiences? Like, there is something kind of fucked up about that. And we should be able to have a conversation about that without being called divisive. Being divisive, when you're being divisive and you're hurting my feelings and you're being so divisive, you're already a hyper-visible Black American. Why can't you just let me have the role? That's how a lot of this is, like, sounding. Like, a lot of just, like, whining, like, to me, you know? I'm going to read you guys a little bit from this Guardian article. Samuel L. Jackson's critique of Black British actors. Like, again, I mean, I guess critique, yes. and I guess it's like a thin line between critique and criticism, but I would not call it a criticism. Samuel L. Jackson's critique of Black British actors taking U.S. roles has sparked a heated debate in Hollywood where African American performers said the hiring of UK talent is another form of industry discrimination that they face on a regular basis. And again, this goes back to Black Like Them, Malcolm Gladwell, which was published in like 1995 or 96, 20 years ago, when it's, again, just like I said in my last video, it has been proven, studies have shown, stats show, sociologists have studied this. It has been proven that in America, people would prefer to hire a non-Black American. If they need a Black person, they would prefer to hire a non-Black American because Black Americans are seen as thugs, violent, lazy, dirty, don't want to work hard. You know, we are seen as at the bottom of the food chain, and that is across industries. That is across industries, including Hollywood, including the film industry. If you need a Black person for a role, even if it's a role specifically about the Black American experience, they would prefer to hire a non-Black American. If you need a Black person for a job, they would prefer to hire a non-Black American. And just like I said in my last video, studies have shown that the children of immigrants in this country, the closer they get to being seen as African American or Black American, the less viable they are seen for these jobs. It's true. It's a fact. It's proven. So again, the fact that people are reacting so hard to what Sam Jack said is just really, really, really interesting to me because nobody wants to be told that they're privileged, and nobody wants to be told that they're benefiting from something that's unfair, especially against possibly another Black person. And this is also why light-skinned people hate hearing about colorism and talking about colorism, and why straight people hate hearing about homophobia, and why able-bodied people hate hearing about what would that be? Disability phobia. I'm sure you guys know. Nobody likes hearing that they're sitting in a certain place of privilege and that they're possibly oppressing others, and again, especially within the diaspora. But the way that Black people, interact. But like, we have to talk about it. Like, Jackson argued, I tend to wonder what that movie would have been with an American brother who really feels that. John Boyega, the British Star Wars actor, called it a stupid-ass conflict we don't have time for. Now, John, really, I love you to death, but what you said was stupid. And you can shut the fuck up. Black actors in Los Angeles said it has sparked an important conversation and that they were tired of seeing UK actors taking on roles about the Black American experience. When it comes to telling very specific American stories, it can sometimes feel like a slap in the face to the Black American community. It's like we as Americans can't tell our own stories. And this piece also mentioned, and now I can't see exactly where it is. This piece also mentioned where was it? It mentioned how a lot of Black British actors come in here because they can't get jobs in Britain because all the jobs in Britain go to the white actors. So they come here and they take the jobs away from the Black Americans, which is kind of that's cyclical oppression in a way. You can't oppress the white people in your country, so you come here and you kind of in your own way oppress the Black Americans. And that's not to say that Black Brits, because we're talking specifically about Black Brits right now at this moment, are not oppressed. That's not to insinuate that they're not Black. That's not to insinuate that they're not oppressed. That's just to insinuate that non-American Black people are able to come to America and be seen in higher esteem than native-born Blacks, and to therefore get opportunities that Black Americans wouldn't get. And that's real, and that's legit, and that is something that should be talked about. You can't get, you guys get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? That's legit, and that's really a thing. They mentioned here, here it is. According to government data from 2013, there was a 500% increase in 1 year in approved visa petitions for Black UK actors and directors seeking to work in the U.S., right? And then this article also talked about how Black American, kind of getting again into the classism aspect of it, the elitism aspect of it, Black American actors, native born, African American actors, are pigeonholed into these roles like Cookie Lions and Empire, pigeonholed into these stereotypical roles of a Black American, Meanwhile, a lot of like Black Brits can come to this country and they have like all this classical training and all this pedigree, and they can maybe like be seen for some other roles that they wouldn't even see a Black American for, which is also something really, really interesting, which was mentioned, and I'm trying to find it, which is something I never thought about, but it was like mentioned here. Let's see, Abraham Ankpa, an actor who has appeared on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and CIS and The People vs. O.J. Simpson, said he thought Kaluuya did a great job in Get Out, but that there are specific nuances an American actor might have brought to the film based on personal experiences. Again, like I said, a native-born Russian speaker is going to just get some shit that a non-native born is just not going to get. Doesn't matter how much fucking rehearsal you do. Doesn't matter how much you go sit on Coney Island and record them and listen over and over. It's just some shit you're never going to get. It's just some shit that fucking Black Brits and Caribbeans and West Indians and anybody that's not a native born Black American, it's just some shit you're not going to get. You never going to get. Sorry, not sorry. That's just how it is. And the reverse is true too. I could fucking move to Europe. It's some shit that I'm never going to get because I was never a Black child in Europe. It's some shit that I'm never going to get. And there's nothing wrong with fucking saying that. There's a very different shade of racism that exists in America, said Amka 29. If it was an African-American actor, I think it would have translated a bit more on screen. When justifying the choice of hiring a British actor over an American, casting directors and filmmakers sometimes cite the prestigious training in the UK at elite schools like the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. That's like a classist thing a little bit, right? That's like an elitist thing. Like, so if you like don't go to like this prestigious acting school, which 9 times out of 10, a lot of like Black American actors have not been to no prestigious ass acting school. Like Taraji P. Henson was like a single mom from DC that like fucking went to Howard and then like dropped out and like moved to LA with like no money and was like a single mom with like this snotty-nosed kid trailing after her. Like, she's like not gonna be like, oh, look at this person. Oh, and you played Hamlet and Othello and you were on stage and you did, you know, like it's just not the same. You get what I'm saying? Like, and Spike Lee said the same thing. In 2013, Spike Lee told The Guardian he wasn't bothered by the trend of British actors taking American roles. They're well trained. They came through on the stage. God, Spike Lee, you're such an asshole. Just like I said in my Chirac video. They're well trained. They came through on the stage, not on a music video or whatever. So their acting's impeccable, and then they go into films. Again, so you're talking about, oh, Black Americans like Lauren London break through in fucking music videos and shit, on TV shows, on YouTube web series. We don't break through on the stage. Our acting is not impeccable. We're not well trained. Like, it's like there's a tier, like there's a caste system within the diaspora where Black Americans are seen as being at the bottom. And that's like some real shit. It's very fucking real. Like, for Black actors and audiences, it can sometimes seem like highly trained and critically acclaimed British actors sometimes miss the mark in American narratives. There are times that I have watched certain British actors do roles where I feel like there is an authenticity missing. There are ample American actors to play these parts. It can be frustrating. This is a Black American actress. She noted that it's much rarer for African-American actors to land British roles, which can make the UK casting in the US even more discouraging. Rogers said it can be frustrating to watch British actors give interviews about the extensive research and character work they did to prepare for a US role. For American actors, that's already innately in us, especially with things like police brutality, how Blacks are treated in America. That's something that we have to live with every day. Black American actors are often forced to play stereotypes, which can make it harder for them to break out of typecasting in the future and make it easier for British actors to land the more serious roles. Again, the Black Brit actors, and I know it probably feels like we're picking on them, but like that's what the piece is about. But this could be a continental African actor, like whatever you want. You know, they have all this serious, prestigious training and they came through on the stage, not in a music video, said Spike Lee, the asshole. You know, like they have all this prestigious training and they can like, and again, they played Othello and they played Hamlet and Macbeth and they can come through and they can like take these very serious roles. And then they're like looking at a Black American actor like, bitch, you was in a Snoop Dogg video. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's a caste system. It's a caste system, you know? We have to work. We do roles that probably pigeonhole us a little bit. There are some tropes that we've seen throughout cinematic history. once you get into that pigeonhole, it's hard to get out of it. You know, they're missing out on the opportunity to cast actors who can pull from their own life experiences. It's it's legit. It's a legitimate thing. And I think what Sam Jack said was perfectly reasonable. And I don't know how long my bra strap's been out. When I film, guys, I don't look at my own face, just for anyone wondering. Typically, I have like my articles up and my links and my everything and the shit I want to read. So a lot of the times, I'll probably be having boogers hanging and God only knows what else. But I do think that what Sam Jack said was perfectly fucking reasonable. And I think that people don't want to talk about divisions within our community because, again, they feel like that is being divisive. But again, I don't think there are any shortcuts to revolution. I don't think we can keep trying to slap band-aids on these issues and move forward because, again, it's going to come back and bite us in the motherfucking ass. And we're not going to get free by ignoring the shit. You know? So that's just how I feel about it. Very long video. In one of my other videos, I said this is going to be a quick video, and it was like 16 minutes long. And somebody was like, 16 minutes? That's quick? I was like, that's quick for me. This video is clocking in at 40 minutes and 5 seconds. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'm sure there's going to be lots of really great conversation in the comments. You guys always have really good conversations. There's like 200 comments on my last video. So this is obviously something that you guys are thinking about and talking about and want to talk about. So let me know what you think, again, in the comments. There will be tons of links in the description box. Please check those out. Please read Black Like Them by Malcolm Gladwell. Please. There were links in the last video. I'm going to put those same links in this video. They're going to be right at the top. Please read it. It is real. It is legit. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.